who's ready for some plant room updates, including what I am finding to be the only thing that has worked so far at getting rid of mealybugs the simple way. Da, da, da. Stick around with me and let's dive into it. Hi, my name is Memo, this is my channel, Houseplantygoodness, and essentially it's a place where I like to geek out about my big passion. You might be able to see some of it behind me, it's tropical houseplants. So as I just said, this is going to be the October update from the plant room. Things are winding down, we're coming into the slower times of the year. I cannot tell you how happy I am. I know for a lot of people this is a bit of a distressing time because they see their plants really start to slow down. I'm just like, this is great. I don't have to do as much watering. And I can just take a moment to enjoy my plants. Because the reality for me, at least in my space, and again, not a humble brag, but just the reality of how I experience this, I spend all my time caring for the growth that happens over the growing season that I very rarely have the time to just sit back and go, ah, look at it, look at it, look at how much healthier and bigger and larger and everything is around my space. This is the time of the year where I can take a breath because I'm not having to care quite as much or quite as frequently and just appreciate and just go, oh, it's been a good growing season actually. This year has been a bit, people in the UK know the horrendous summer that we've had or lack thereof. But one of the first things I want to talk about, and you might be able to see it, I don't know, hopefully that will focus, that we've got one bloom, and this is on the Philodendron esmeraldens, two blooms, and potentially, oh yes, a third bloom. So with any luck, and they've all kind of started growing at different times I've left them, with any luck, I'll be able to take entirely fresh pollen from the philodendron. I'm going to try attempting to pollinate a philodendron. I've not done this before. And try to pollinate a philodendron. A Philodendron esmeraldens. Wish me luck. I do not know what's going to happen. But yes. Sorry, jumping ahead of myself with this one. As I mentioned in the very, very beginning, exciting thing, and I might leave this to the very end, so do stick around to the very end. I think I have found a solution to my mealybug issue. Touch wood. And it's a simple one that people have been using for a long time, and it surprised me that I've never attempted it. But stick around and I'll tell you a bit more about that. Let's have a look at some plants, shall we? First little thing I want to show you, and it's the propagation. Remember the Anthurium Seedlings that I was talking about? That is now its newest leaf and how it's hardening off. I've got high hopes. I mean, look at the pointiness that is happening with this. And I think this was, if I'm not mistaken, looking at it, was my Anthurium crystallinum hybridized with what I was sold as an Anthurium metallicum, which we know it isn't, but we still don't know what hybrid that might be as well. So it's that longer leaf structure there, and I'm really here for the way that this is looking. It's looking great. Also, in terms of kind of updates overall, this is looking a bit busted. And this is a plant that you've not seen on my channel for a very long time because it was looking horrendous for the last year and a half. This is my comeback Anthurium regale. And this, the corm had pretty much rotted. Like the corm was probably about as tall as this pot. I've only just potted this up basically. But in this previous pot, the corm was about this tall. Only about that much of the actual corm had survived when everything else had rotted away. So I wasn't really paying a lot of attention. I'd kind of lost a bit of love for this plant because it can be a bit of a prima donna. But I literally put this into my prop box, forgot about it, a month ago. And it went from nothing to a whole bunch of roots and an entirely new leaf. Granted, it's looking a bit tired and a bit wrinkled, and that was because it was getting so large within the prop box that it was like squishing itself up against everything. Shout out to anybody that's experienced this. Let me know in the comments. We all know the plants in the prop box are like, can I get out, please? Can I get out? But this one I'm really happy to kind of see back in circulation in my collection, and for the first time ever, I am growing this in proper soil mix, and this is obviously Soil Ninja's Anthurium mix. Seems good so far. It's only been potted up a couple of days, but very, very chuffed with this. I know I'm doing like a quick fire with Anthuriums at the moment, but the largest Anthurium villenaorum leaf that I have had. So, and this was a plant that was really, really struggling. This is underneath a grow light now. I've taken it out of semi-hydro. This is in the Anthurium soil mix from Soil Ninja. I swear I'm not getting sponsored for this. I just love that soil mix. I think I'm on the largest bag that they do. I think is it 20 litres or 30 litres? I'm on bag 6 of that size this growing season. I should tell you something. Granted, I've got a lot of plants. But it is loving life, and this is right underneath a soft grow light, but it's doing really well, and I'll show you, because you know me, warts and all, when there was a bit of an issue with thrips, you can kind of see the thrip damage there. But this plant did not skip a beat. There are some substantial roots. I don't know where, oh no, I think they are coming out. All right, you can kind of see them in there. And this is the point last year where I messed up, where I kept this too wet for too long. So what I'm going to be doing with this, because I know that it can take a lot more dryness than a lot of my other anthuriums, is I will pretty much be letting this go, not bone dry, but relatively dry or towards dry before I ever water this again in the winter, even if it means I'm only watering this like once a month or maybe twice a month. So wish me the best, and hopefully I can get a villenaorum to a size that's decent. Again, this was the one that surprised me with a lot of you that have bought it as well, where I think a lot of us thought that it was going to be easy, but it actually isn't one of the easiest anthuriums. But it's still got those kind of awesome, I don't know whether or not that's going to come up. You can kind of maybe see it. This is the one with the petioles that are like, if you cut them in the cross-section, they are triangular. It's very, very cool. So yes, Anthurium villenaorum. And because not everything is joyous and every single one of these updates, this is this alocasia that I think is the azlanii, and I've just never had great success with this. I'm trying to grow this in soil for once, unlike before when I was growing it in semi-hydro, but it's looking a bit... Is it getting too much light? I don't know. Have you grown the Alocasia azlanii? The one that's got like the purple and is supposed to have very dark leaves and a bit of purpleness, but you can kind of see with mine, they're not that dark. I don't know whether or not I'm giving this too much light, potentially. So, I don't know, but this has been on the struggle bus for a while. I mentioned thrips a moment ago. This is another one that had some thrip damage. There is something that's coming up in the middle, but you know when you're not entirely sure, I think that might be an inflorescence, ironically enough. So that's going to need to go, but it might be a leaf at this stage. I cannot tell. There's not enough of whatever's coming out yet for me in order to be able to kind of go, oh yes, that's what it is, and I need to chop it off. So any tips on the Alocasia azlanii would be highly appreciated, because this is looking a bit pathetic. By this point, a lot of my other alocasias that start at this size, and this has had almost an entire growing season, tend to do a lot better. And this one, and it's a shame because I would really like to get this alocasia happy. Conversely, this alocasia is doing really, really well, and I cannot for all love or money remember what it is called, but hopefully the light isn't getting it too much glariness. This is the newest leaf, so it does come out a slightly lighter green, but it hardens down to this deep, unctuous green there, and the backs of the leaves have got a slight kind of burgundy blush to them. Very, very, very cool. Is this a fast alocasia? Not even by a long shot, but this one is doing a lot better. Is this a thirsty alocasia? Semi-demi. But this one's really cool, and I've really enjoyed growing this, and I'm seeing a bit of mealybugs, and I'm going to use the treatment because it's worked so well in so many of my plants that I'll talk about in just a bit. But yeah, this one is doing really, really, really well. Highly recommend this. This has not been a problematic alocasia for me, and it's still giving, which is what I like about it, it's still giving those kind of dragon scaly type vibes. It's very thick leaves, so very, very glossy as well. So very, very cool one. And remember the plant that was struggling that I wanted to get a replacement plant for, which was the the piper, that poor individual that was watering my plants got really like worried. Just, no, 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 kill it. I'm just like, no. This idiot did not put it on the watering list. However, and hopefully this might come up, you might be able to see right there. And then also right, remove the labels, there is some new growth coming in from right down at the bottom, and it's coming right down at the bottom from some of these kind of dried out stems that haven't got very much on them. Some of the ones that have got some life are coming up from the very tip. But life continues, and this is what I mean by pipers generally. Again, my experience, I know this is not everybody's. If you give them half a chance, I find that these are fighting plants. They'll take their while, and they'll get going slowly, but yeah, it's really doing well again, which is surprising. And obviously I can't not show you the, hopefully it'll focus, it's having too many issues. You can see that extra floral nectaries that the piper is underneath the leaf is so famous for. But let me put this back. Also, because people have been asking about it, and it was struggling the mostest before. I'm just trying to see if you can kind of see some of the roots. You can. My Anthurium peltigerum, which is such a cool kind of alien-looking plant. It's the one, remember, that the leaf got caught on the way out. This is the one that had an awful lot of root rot. Bouncing back, bouncing back. Is it doing much whilst bouncing back? No, but it is bouncing back. I can see some roots. My tip for and it's not just mine, everybody does the same thing. Clear pots with holes on the side, godsend, especially when you're worried about things like root rot, because you can actually see that there's still roots, that they are healthy, and everything is going okay. The leaves are also a lot more kind of turgid leaves. So I know that this is kind of bouncing back, and I am so happy. I'm assuming this might not do anything for the whole of winter. I don't think this Anthurium is a particularly fast growing Anthurium, but if it means I get to keep it and it gets to size up a bit more, great, because this was also not a cheap Anthurium. How about a plant that you haven't seen yet? I brought it down so you can see it. No self-control. We've been over this. I don't need to keep rehashing it. But the people at Grow Tropicals know how to tempt somebody without any form of self-control. I saw this on their website, and this, by the way, is a Bulbophyllum type orchid. I will put it at the top there. Hopefully, if I find some pictures, I'll put them here as well so you can kind of see them. I do have another Bulbophyllum that I have always struggled to grow. Interestingly, they are growing this in bark in here. From what I could see online, the way that people have had success with them is they either grow them mounted, and they need to keep the water moisture topped up a bit more, not sapping wet, but moist, or if they're growing them in baskets, they grow them in just orchid bark, which is what this is in. But you can kind of see the pseudobulbs, you can see some of the aerial roots that are happening there. You can kind of see how this plant is growing, and I'm going to leave it in a basket because I think it does a nice kind of trailing and cascading thing. Hopefully I'll be able to grow this better than I have the other one, because the other one has done okay but not fantastic. But yes, I thought I would show you because I was very excited to find this. And it wasn't the cheapest thing in the world. I think it was 45 Great British pounds. It's fine for the size of this plant. When I saw the size of the plant, I'm just like, oh, okay. And then they did the thing where it's just like, for this week only, you don't need to spend X amount to get free shipping. You can spend this much less and get free shipping. And I was like, okay, fine, twist my arm. At some point, I'll gain self-control again. But I think the way that I'm doing this is, I didn't buy plants for nearly 2 years, so I'm living my best life this summer. It's great. It's great. It's not. I know it's not summer. Don't burst my bubble. I just realised that specific grow light was not on, so I had to just switch it on. I'm just like, the space seems darker than it normally does. There's a lot of light, but it seems darker. I don't know why. That would be why. The other thing that I can't pick up, but I will see if I can add 2 pictures here, and I'm hoping I remember to keep them on because I haven't done that. I haven't experienced bloom from these plants. So my Queen Anthurium, which has got a massive leaf, but it's on that side and I cannot move it at the moment. Ooh, look at the quirrent lens. Anyway, the Queen Anthurium has got its first ever inflorescence. And then also the King Anthurium, which is down there, and let's see if I can put a picture, has also got its first inflorescence. I'm really hoping I can find some other anthuriums that are about to bloom again in here and see if I can get some pollen and maybe do some interesting cross-pollinations with the King and the Queen. We shall see. But yes, those are very exciting at the moment. I'm kind of also looking around to see kind of certain examples of updates I can do you. One I can see right now, it's looking a bit crispy, but this newest leaf gives you a good representation of what this plant looks like when it's happy. It's not always happy, but let me show you. So you'll understand what I mean about the unhappy leaves, but can you see the happy leaf? That one right there. And it's pointing downwards because it's very, very high and it's getting a lot of light. It should balance out again now that it's winter time. But this is doing really well. And again, mealybugs. But these are the mealybug plants that I have not treated yet with this solution that I was just talking about. But yes, and it's also got a new growth point that is coming out right there. Can you see this? Yes, you can. This is rubrocinctum, Philodendron rubrocinctum platinum. And you might be able to see there's a slight sheen to this if I kind of move it. It feels like I'm cradling a baby here. But yeah, this is a very, very cool plant. And it's still bringing me joy, even though, if I'm being honest, it grows a bit like rubbish. But when you get leaves like this and they remain like that, then I can't like say, you know what, I don't like it. I do like it. I do enjoy it. It's just, I feel that this is my equivalent of like a spotty teenager. There's potential when it gets over itself. Also, another little update of a plant that I thought I had lost because I took only a small kind of propagation from it, a small corm from it, and this was my Alocasia gageana variegata. I'll see if I can find a picture of the mother plant and put it here. I ended up like dividing that and giving it to different people. I know I kept a small piece for myself and it didn't do particularly well. I put it out in the garden and just go, you know what, Hail Mary, if you come back, you come back. If not, it's fine. And I had large corms. They all rotted. However, ta-da! I know it might not look like a lot, but that is one leaf there. That is another leaf there, and there's also a little growth point here. So these are 3 separate tubers. These have become a lot more available now. Couldn't find them anywhere before. I got them from one specific seller. I'm keeping this plant here because it needs to get treated. But yeah, I am so happy that I got this back, even if they're a bit more available, because they're still not the cheapest thing in the world. So yes, Alocasia gageana variegata coming back to life. The next big update is a Syngonium. I don't do a lot of Syngonium updates, and this was a plant that really did struggle for a long period of time, and I kind of know that this is very sensitive with its water. At least it has been in my care, and it will go towards root rot like that. The Syngonium something spot. Red spot, I think. I'll correct myself at the top. But this has died back and regrown about 3 times now. This is the 3rd time. I keep salvaging bits of it and keep replanting it. It seems to be doing really well. Guess in what soil mix it is. Say it with me because I'm a broken record at this point. The Soil Ninja Anthurium soil mix. I need to invest in that company at some point. They're doing great things. Love all the guys at Soil Ninja. I really, really do. But yes, it's very, very, very happy in its new soil media and its new growing conditions, and hopefully I will not make it go towards rot again. So this is a plant that I will let go entirely dry. Even in the summer, this was only getting watered about once a month almost, and it's probably going to be once every 2 months now in the winter. Fine, as long as it keeps growing, even if it's slow as anything, then that's fine. But it's a okay plant, and I think I wasn't a plant that I was ever going to go out of my way to purchase. It was too expensive for what it was. I would have been really salty if I got this at the height of its price, but I got it very, very cheaply, and I'm happy that I got it. And the reason why I'm enjoying having this come back to life now is more that I saw this as a challenge and just go, you will not beat me. So far. So far. And I've had my failures, as I've said. But, yeah, it's doing well. The other positive update again, which I was not expecting. Look here. Monstera obliqua. Absolutely huge leaf compared to where this was when it arrived to me. I mean, look at that leaf. Yeah, I'm gonna eat my words. Everybody that said it needs to go on a moss pole, it needs to go on a moss pole. It made a difference. It's starting to really kind of kick into gear now that it is on a moss pole. It took a while to root in and start giving me these bigger leaves. And you can see, because they're so delicate, some of them have ripped, and that's fine. But I've already got 2 other growth points that are coming through. I can see no aerial roots in the moss, but apparently it seems to have rooted in. And it's doing well, but yes. So I might be falling in love with this a bit. Because remember with this one, I'm just like, I'll show you the review that I did on this one, which is less than favourable. But very, very cool. I even gave a rooted cutting of this already on a moss pole to the lovely individual that took care of my plants as a bit of a thank you on top of everything else to so that they could grow the same thing. I know that these plants aren't anywhere near as expensive as they are, and that's the way that I kind of described it to the individual and just went, these were at this crazy price at some point, and the face just dropped. And it was like, the good news is they are really, really, really not. But they are very cool plants because it's more holes than leaves, and as long as I know that it's been grown on a moss pole and it's grown, I kind of used the Anthurium mixed by Soul Ninja, yeah. Broken record, I said this at the beginning of the video, don't come for me. I know that it will be fine. So yes, I am very, very happy that these leaves are getting bigger, because when they were smaller, they weren't that as impressive. This, I'm just like, oh, I see what the hype is about now. But let's start to wrap up, and I'll show you. It doesn't seem like anything specific, does it? And I know people are going to get pressed for this, because this is something, as I mentioned, that people have been using for a while. Generally, I hear this more in the garden. The occasional person that deals with houseplants has mentioned this in terms of like the best thing that I have found, not just for mealybugs, it has also helped almost entirely obliterate all of my thrips. You need to stay on top of it though. And spider mites, obviously it dealt with spider mites as well, but never believe what it is. And I got this from another YouTube video actually from, and I can't remember what the person's name is, really like cool English dude who talks more about gardening and vegetable growing and allotments and all of these things. And he did a video that he spoke to a lady in the UK who grows citrus plants all over in her conservatory, outside, and all of these things, and she's the one that talked about this. And I've tried using this in the past, but I think the dosage was off. And she was specifically saying about mealybugs. Obviously, anybody that knows mealybugs, I think there's a certain type of mealybugs, or all mealybugs are also sometimes called citrus mealybugs. So I'm just like, you know what? Ears pricked up, and I'm just like, if a citrus grower who only grows citrus, who I'm assuming has a whole host of mealybugs, is using something and it's working for them, I am listening 100%. As I said, not my idea. People have been doing this for a while. It's just that individual, bless her, actually gave dosage, which I've never been able to see before. So, after all of that, this is just water and Castile soap. Castile soap specifically. She mentioned it in that video. I'm mentioning this here as well. I think I tried using this with other things before, so maybe Castile soap and neem. Just Castile soap and water. And the proportions that she was saying, I will share the knowledge, was 15 milliliters, if I'm not mistaken, to 1 litre of water. That's it. I'll see if I can put measurements for the Americans at the top here as well. I don't think you do milliliters and litres, but I'll see if I can put it. If I get it wrong, don't blame me. I don't know the measurements that you might use in America, but specifically for volumes and things like that. Like a charm. So how do I use this? And I would always say, if you're going to use something like this, people have been using it for a while. Don't question it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Test it on leaves. Specifically, I'm thinking about things like the kind of more velvety type anthuriums, and only on a small section and see if the plant reacts in any way or form, and then pull back if you need to. But this leaf at some point was covered in mealybugs. And I've been treating this in the past, and by the time I treat it, like 4 days later, I've got mealybugs again. Not a single mealybug for the last 3 weeks. This is great. It didn't have an issue with my queen anthurium, but that's just on mine. Test with yours. Queen anthuriums are notoriously tricky. Most of the other plants that I have that are kind of more leathery feel have had absolutely zero problem with this Castile soap mix. Jury's still out. I am still testing it. Test at your own risk. But wow, I have not been excited, other than obviously my predatory insects. And the reason why I'm spraying this now is because I've got some predatory insects, and I'm not spraying the plants that have got the predatory insects that are working, but the ones that don't, everything. Spider mites, mealybugs, and thrips. With all of them, you need to douse the leaf, douse the bug if you see it, and then kind of like reapply in a few days later. I don't think you need to be, because this is not systemic, you don't need to spread it out as much, and it needs, she said this, I would believe the same, it needs to be Castile soap. I got my Castile soap on Amazon, but I'm sure you can find it in other places. I'll link the one that I found down below anyway. But yeah, like a charm, like a charm. I have not been this excited about like pest management in a very long time. Again, jury is still out. I've not used this for like 6 months or a year, so I don't know long-term issues or anything like that, but so far. And I had to tell you, the moment that it started working, I was like, I need to tell my viewers, because this is kind of exciting. I've not been excited like this for a while, so Castile soap and water, give it a try. I think from most of the pest management, this is at least the way that I'm seeing it. I might be wrong. To me, it seems milder than kind of the neem oil sprays as well. Some of my plants really did not like the neem oil, and it created a film of oil on the plant, and it caused issues, especially with the kind of more velvety plants. This does not do that. But yeah. I'll stop gushing over like pest management now. But yeah, I think that's the update that I wanted to do for this month. Did some of these things surprise you? I wanted to show you a few more struggling plants, and I keep seeing my struggling plants throughout the month, and I'm just like, I must remember to put it on the video so it's not just me going, look at how well this is doing, and look at how well this is doing. I'll make a list for the next one so I can show you. I did show you, I think, 1 or 2 that were struggling a bit, but by and large, they're okay at the moment. Don't touch a wood, touch a wood, touch a wood. But yeah, by and large, they're okay at the moment. So yeah, I'll see how it goes. Ooh, one last thing that I will say about this. Sorry, can you tell I'm excited? That individual had it on a pump sprayer, so it's just easier to spray. I got it because I had this already and I wasn't using the spray thing, but I think I will be moving towards a pump sprayer very soon because I get through this at an alarming rate. But so far it's working well. So the biggest tip that you can take away from this video, if you take anything away, is listen to the experts in a specific field. Like I said, a lot of mealybugs have always been attracted to citrus. So if somebody who's growing citruses that says that this works on the mealybugs for their plants, guess what it probably means? That it will work for the mealybugs, because most of our plants are not pest specific necessarily. So it's a free-for-all for everybody. So if somebody says, you know what, for this specific pest, this works well, try it. You've got nothing to lose. But yes, that's everything I wanted to say. I have missed you all, can you tell? It's been a while since I've done a sit down and talk to you like this for a while, so I'm really, really enjoying it. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed. Hopefully I shall see you here soon. And I truly, truly hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thanks. Bye.